Okay, thank you very much, Irene. I am so delighted and excited to be in a room full of talented, competent, beautiful, and powerful women. I think all of us are a little bit tired
Just a minute.
and excited, and both excited to
Chloe,
be here.
just a minute.
Yes.
Let us please respect the speakers who are here who have prepared. Out of respect as well for your neighbors who want to hear, please don't talk. I know it's hard, it's breakfast in the morning, but please, let's try to control the talking. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Irene. I really appreciate that. Again, Irene, thank you so much for inviting me to this big stage. It is my first time here. I'm a baby in this 35-year journey, so I feel really, really excited. Last night, we really hit a climax with a stellar performance by none other than one of our panelists, speakers, Pilar, and that got me thinking, yes, 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 yes. And while watching Pilar in action, oh, with her beautiful gown, I thought, geez, can AI top that? My conclusion was no way. So we're talking about AI and IP, intellectual property, and while we were having breakfast, I thought, well, why don't I get you thinking with a video clip that I want you to look at, and hopefully it is going to entertain you. All right, Larry, let's play the video. Thank you.
Sorry, we have the wrong video. We are waiting for the right video.
Okay, so just before we get as you line up the video, I just wanted to quickly highlight that in our panel discussion, we have 4 distinguished women leaders who are in different sectors. And whichever field that you are in, I want you to think about what are the implications for you. Women are not known to have their forte in AI and IP, but let's change that. The stats don't work towards us, but let's really work that around. We have our esteemed FT boss, Leyla Boulton, and she's also going to be, she's an award-winning journalist. She's manning the desk, super busy lady. So Irene worked really hard to get her here. And we have none other than Pilar, who captivated us with her performance. And what you need to focus on in her presentation is that despite that amazing talent that she has, I was actually startled to learn that she is embracing AI and working with AI. What? So we need to understand why. How do we draw the line between what is art and what is machine? Yeah, what is just content created by machine when everybody is creating? Ms. Bola, she is the woman who has been championing for women inventors and entrepreneurs. I was startled to learn that simple things, everyday things that we use, the wiper, windshield, the bulletproof vest, the matchbox, all of these were invented by women. So, if so, why aren't more women thriving in this age of AI when arguably that type of learning, that type of automation should get us out of the Stone Age where the men used to hunt for food and the women had to continuously produce and stay back at home. So lots to talk about with Bola. And Lisa, our legal expert. There's a lot of gray area. We are in Europe, which is very good because Europe is moving ahead with this EU AI Act. It's AI for humanity, but the rest of the world, we're falling behind. America, as you know, in the US, they managed to avoid passing that 10-year moratorium, which would have given a complete laissez-faire approach, a free reign. But right now, the situation is a bit vague, odd, because you have different states and cities coming up with different regulation for AI. So I think we have a fantastic lineup of speakers. If we get around to it, if we have time, maybe we'll just do a quick follow-up. So let's play it by ear. Larry and the team, are we ready to play the video?
No, sorry, we are still waiting.
Okay. Okay, then why don't we wait for that video? I wanted to sizzle things up with that video, but let's get started with a presentation by Leyla.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Whose is it? That's the question Irene rightly zeroed in on. It's ours, if we can hang on to our intellectual property. And whether we win that battle to stop rich and powerful tech companies from scooping up all our content free of charge to train their large language models matters to every one of us. Why, might you ask? After all, AI can write articles and answer online queries with an instant summary of all material published on the internet. What do you need journalists for? You need us for the survival of our democracy and what it is to be human. Generative AI helps us do our job better by taking on the tasks of a super smart intern. And for some years now, AI has enabled us to find stories in data and images that humans would otherwise miss. But it also puts pressure on human-led journalism to up its game and focus on things that humans do best, distinguishing between facts and fakes, exercising original thought, and identifying areas and people that need investigating or holding to account. And that, in turn, costs money. The scraping of our journalism for free is a mortal threat even to the business model of an organization like mine, which survived a first round of culling when the internet killed off commoditized news and much else. At that time, my colleagues and I were able to build a thriving digital media business by getting people to pay for our journalism and not ceding the data about our audiences to the likes of Apple. Arrayed against us this time are data-hungry tech companies, some of whose bosses you don't even need humans in the loop, and who, for the most part, don't want to pay anybody for the content that is the essential fuel for their macho arms race for AI supremacy. Without a healthy media to hold them to account, can we trust tech companies to look after us and our humanity, including our freedom from oppression in still free societies? I don't think so. Look at how Meta changed its algorithm to deprioritize news, or canceled fact-checking outside the US. In the US, forgive me. Or remember how Elon Musk turbocharged X to prioritize extreme viewpoints, often not grounded in fact. It's against this backdrop that the FT's new CEO, John Slade, first mentioned the concept of a NATO for news. The idea of a defensive alliance against hugely rich and powerful tech companies to stop them ripping off our content is taking shape with a group of media companies exploring jointly how we might create a marketplace offering AI developers access to our journalism on a paid basis. One silver lining in the battle so far is the sort of licensing agreement reached by OpenAI with individual media companies like the FT, and starting with Springer here in Germany in December 2023. But not everybody's prepared to pay or accept a deal. The BBC is suing an AI outfit called Perplexity, and instead of a licensing deal, the New York Times opted to sue OpenAI in a landmark case where the stakes are high. If the court finds in favor of the New York Times, this will open the way for anybody else to claim compensation from tech companies, which is clearly not in their interests. Conversely, if the New York Times loses, we really are on our own in Europe, as I don't think President Trump will rush to protect the copyright of mainstream media organizations. It was only this week, as Chloe mentioned, that the US Senate threw out the administration's proposal, backed by Silicon Valley, to ban US states from regulating AI for the next 10 years. In Europe, the EU's AI Act and Copyright Directive require creative industries like ours to opt out of text and data mining, or by default, allow journalism to be scraped by tech companies for free. So we're not too pleased with that either. This is a far cry from the original aim of the opt-out plan to facilitate medical progress by sharing scientific knowledge. In the UK, we're taking advantage of our rarely used and rarely useful Brexit freedoms to plot a middle way. After the new Labour government agreed to consult on whether it should adopt the EU's opt-out approach, the reaction by our and other creative industries was so fierce that the science minister had to admit he regretted favouring opt-out versus opt-in in a forthcoming AI Act, which will hopefully be changed as a result in the UK. This is an early win, but nothing more than an opening salvo. And the more society, all of you, all of us, understand what this battle is all about, the better it will be for all of us. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much for that. As Leyla mentioned, the stakes are high. It could be millions, billions at stake. You have lawsuits happening at the same time while licensing deals are happening with news and media organizations. I think our video is ready now. I want to show this video before our soprano gets heavily into how AI is revolutionizing art, because I think my video is completely going to be outshadowed by that. So, Larry, are we ready, team? Can you play the video? Thank you. Okay, so there you have it. You could, thank you. So as you can see, AI can definitely enhance, add that extra edge when it comes to K-pop, when it comes to entertainment and beyond. But as we continue to toy around and integrate this technology into media and production, how far can it take us? And who actually owns this IP? I was thinking as my team and I were creating this. So this is just media and production. When it comes to the real stuff, music, classical music, opera. And yet, I am amazed to learn that Pilar is embracing this wholeheartedly. So Pilar, tell us what you're doing.
So, I begin. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being with you. I feel very, very proud. Can I stand up also? Okay, fantastic. Because, you know, I like a stage. So I like to move on a stage. And this kind of things, speaking to everybody and singing for all of you. It's something that I do normally. And for me, it's very strange to speak just from a seat, even if I do later, okay. But I will begin saying something that maybe you now know me as a singer, as an artist, and of course, I'm an artist. But also, I'm not only an artist, I know that laws are very important also for the production of artists' things, and it's very important the world that we are living. But also in this moment, it's very important the technology, not only now, always was important the technology for all of us. And in every work is changing everything because it's changing the technology. And technology is just moving every day. So we need to be really in the real moment like now. And this is what I want to do with all of you. I want that you know, for example, she was speaking about the rights and copyrights directive. I was fighting in person in the parliament, in the European Parliament, for getting this law. I was speaking politician to politician for saying, okay, this is important for us. You are stealing our things, so we need help. And now, of course, still we need help. Always we need help, because always is someone that wants to take our rights, also your rights. But in this case, our rights are really in risk for a lot of things. But okay, I'm very curious, so I'm doing things also in different projects. Now I'm working also in the Genesis project, that is an Hungarian project that is trying to get the technology, enough technology, not for doing an application, just for creating an AI that is a being that capable of deciding by itself about the creation. So, okay, this is something that scares me a little bit, because, but I'm there because I prefer to be inside than to be out. And because now I need that you are a little bit wake up, I'm going to ask, I want that you participate in a game with me. Okay, I'm going to ask our technician for putting some pieces. This project that I'm working is the Chopin module inside of this project of creation, the Genesis project. Can you to know if someone is made for a human or made for AI? Okay, but now we are going to play. I'm going to show four pieces that is in the Chopin style. Okay, I want that you say me later which one do you think that is the human. So please, first. The second one, okay, first, this is the second, remember, because then I'm going to ask you. Second, please. Don't stop now. What happened? Now is the third. Remember? 4? Okay, it's only 4, but remember which one thinks that is Chopin. Okay, stop. Now, who is thinking that the first is Chopin? Put your hand. The first one. Okay. Who is thinking that is the second one is Chopin? Less. Okay. Who is thinking that the third one is Chopin? Okay, I see that in this part there's more people than this. Okay, and who is thinking that is the 4? Oh my God, oh my God. Now you can feel the scare that feel all the composers in that moment. Okay, only the third one is Chopin. The rest, okay. Clap for everybody that was, okay. The rest is AI. Imagine what it's doing now, the AI. It's doing something that is so similar, and even it is not in the style. It's something that is working, so why? Why a person that is in the company is going to use a human for doing something that is more expensive than pushing a button, forgetting. This is something that is going to change everything, because when the economy is inside of the culture disappear. And this is the problem that we are living. But also I have other examples about this, also with contemporary music and also with film music, but I know that we have not a lot of time, so I'm not going to put this. But I'm going to speak about what is happened, because now the other day I was reading an interview from Daniel Ek, the owner of Spotify, and he was speaking about, okay, now it's fantastic because in our platform we have an application that all the young people can do music, and it's not necessary to know how to do music, because the only thing that they have to do is pushing a button. Okay, is this creation? What kind of art in pushing a button? But they have, in this moment, we have a problem, real problem. And the problem is our people around is telling every day that doing art is just pushing a button. Please, can you put me my video?
You don't need to know anything about music production or video editing. If you're thinking, but I've never made music in my life, don't worry. We'll take inspiration from music videos that are already viral. That means you're starting with a proven formula. Now listen carefully. Music videos get millions, sometimes even billions of views.
Yeah.
And thanks to AI, you can now create your own without
win a lot
spending
of
a dime
money
on
pushing a
equipment or
button.
crew.
This is pop music for AI. Everything is made for the AI. And also, if you don't like this, we have another possibility. And this is just with a button, 5 minutes.
You touch the sky with every word you say, but I'm still grounded in the mess we made.
So, and this is the result. This is the result of doing a video, also the video clip. Yes, everything is AI. Look, you can do this, and it's saying you can do 100 of videos every month and getting a lot of money because of your videos. Okay, the problem is this worse than what is doing other people? Okay, you can stop. So, the problem of this is, of course, if you are in the musical industry and you want to get money, okay, you can get a lot of money also producing things that you are not spending a lot, and also you are selling to the young people that now is very, very common for them, listen voices that has a performance before by the technical things. So everybody can listen people that is not possible to do. Of course, this is not possible because the most part of people that you are listen in a pop music also say, hello, I'm happy, oh, I am ready. But don't worry because after this come the technician and say, don't worry. And say, oh, hello, this is Mario, yeah, oh, and it's changing with the auto-tune. So this is the world, this is the fake world that we are living. And because of that, I'm going to sit now, okay, forgive a little bit more dramatic moment, and, and I'm going to read something that I was writing for all of you. This is my manifest for this moment, and it's very important that you understand what I say, because it's not written only with the head, that of course, it's written also with the heart. And it's very important because heart, okay, this feeling is the human feeling still, because I'm very sure that little by little also AI is taking our feelings also in the algorithm. So I'm going to read this manifest for all you. We live in an age where everything, absolutely everything, is turned into content. A piece of art, an opinion, an emotion. Everything is clipped, labeled, and pushed onto a screen as something consumable. And without realizing it, we are allowing the value of culture to be measured only by its virality. But culture is not just information. It is not quite entertainment. It is not value content designed for metrics. Culture, and this is very important for all of us, culture is identity. It connects us to our roots, to our future. It's memory, but it is also critique. It is resistance. It is a space where a society asks itself what it wants to become. And to keep that alive, we need artists who think, who speak, who dub, who act with ethic. Because the most dangerous part of our present moment is not artificial intelligence itself, but the speed at which it is colonizing language, images, and music without us stopping to ask what we are losing in return. This is not about fear. It is about awareness. Yes, AI can collaborate, it can enrich, it can amplify, but it should never replace the human root of creation, because an algorithm cannot suffer, it cannot laugh, it cannot fill with beauty. And that mystery, that blind spot that makes us profoundly human, is what turns art into something that transforms. That's why this space exists. That's why the culture exists. Not to reject technology, but to defend the critical gaze in the midst of all the noise. Because only by asking questions, we can decide what we want the future of art to become. And I, as an artist and creator, and a lot of things more, and also as a woman, will not give up on that conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much for enlightening us. While watching your presentation, I thought AI is wonderful that it can create a gorgeous, sexy, blue-haired lady with big boobs and small waist without scalp damage, without dieting. But I think it still lacks the soul and the human touch, that masterful delivery, a performance like you can do last night. So maybe as we progress in this journey of AI, maybe the giants, the maestros of great art, and the regular folks who are creating through models and AI creatures, maybe the gap is going to widen, something to think about. Now, Ms. Bola. So earlier you had a presentation. There's so many opportunities, so many risks for women entrepreneurs, inventors. Tell us more.
Thank you very much. May I stand up at the podium there? Thank you. Thank you very much. Right, I don't know whether this one is working or this one. Is it the two? Can I use this one? I think I'll use this. Okay, thank you very much. So good morning, everyone. What a great day we had yesterday. The evening was just absolutely fabulous. Thank you very much, Irene and your team. I had a great time. And thank you to all the phenomenal women that I met, that I spoke to. Thank you for being so enlightening. I was absolutely thrilled. Right. This morning, I want to speak to those women who own businesses or are thinking of owning a business. Because all this talk about AI is something that I think that we need to go back to basics. We need to understand what this means to a small, medium-sized enterprise. The Global Women Inventors and Innovators Network, we see thousands of women with businesses, those with creative ideas, those that think out of the box. It doesn't matter whether it's a small business in a beauty salon to a big high technology business. It doesn't really matter. What matters most is how you see your business, how you value your business, how you value your creativity, how you put yourselves out there into the world with integrity and tenacity. But what I find sometimes is a lot of the women that come to us appear to know everything, but really don't know very much about protection of their ideas. And in most cases, again, some small enterprises, they've got to do everything. And time is always a challenge. So how can you know everything when you're the person handling everything? So this is one of the reasons for why we raise awareness of intellectual property rights. We raise awareness, but we are not patent attorneys. So let me put that disclaimer out there. We signpost. And now that AI is here, a lot of small-sized medium enterprises are using AI every day. They're just touching the button, just as you said, just to get things going. I just want a show of hands. How many of you own businesses here, please? Can I just see your hands? Oh, good. So I'm talking to all of you. And those of you that might retire one day and decide to own your own business. But one of the things I have to say to you is that there's a lot going on that we really do need to be aware of in terms of AI. So do you own your own brand, your logo? Do you own your creative works? Do you own your confidential business secrets? What do you really know that you own? Because sometimes a lot of people think they own things and they don't because they're just not aware. I'm conscious I'm standing on a global platform here. And AI is at different stages in different countries and different parts of the world. So one size doesn't fit all, and we're not all at the same level of understanding, knowledge, and awareness. So please forgive me if I go back to basics, because some of the things I'm going to say, maybe most of you know it. And if you don't know it, well, oh, great, that's a bonus. You get to learn something today. So what am I saying? These are all invaluable things that you own, and it's crucial that you understand the need to protect it. But what I'm going to talk to you about today is not so much about you protecting your ideas and your works, but it's so much to do with AI. And to ensure that none of us get into any kinds of problems while using AI. Because of that challenge that most people have because of time, we can get very easy into let's get this done very quickly. After all, AI is there. But how can that affect us? A lot of us work hard with integrity. And ignorance sometimes can get us into trouble. Yes, it can. And that's why I'm going down to basics to tell you that there are some things you need to know about AI before you go down using, copying, and touching those buttons. There's a dark side to it. I think we all accept that. Yes, there are no emotions and all of that, but we need to be careful that we don't go down the litigation road, where we have infringed upon someone's intellectual property without knowing that we have. We have to admit that, yes, it's a great opportunity to be able to use AI today, and it's fast-pacing, but sometimes it can do more harm than good. So I just want to go through some of the things that you need to know about, because some of the things I wanted to say have been mentioned, and I don't want to repeat them. But can I just have a show of hands again if you actually go online and search for things and then use them in your business? Like Canva. Does anybody use Canva? Yeah, a lot of hands. Yes, ChatGPT and all of those sort of things. Now, when you're using them, do you put information in about your business? Because if you put information in, now it might not be you, it could be members of your staff wanting to get work done very quickly. What is your trade secret? What are you putting in there? Because I can assure you, AI is learning and learning very fast. And those things that you think are trade secrets could be right out there before you know it. But let's talk about protecting ourselves. Let's ensure that we're not the culprits. Let's ensure that we're not the ones infringing on other people's copyrights, trademarks, patents. And that means we need to be vigilant, we need to be aware, and we need to be certain that we're doing the right thing. We need to be out there looking to ensure that we're not just going there and using AI for our benefits, because we need to avoid litigation. That very thing that we wanted to save us time is that very thing that could take us down a route where it could be very, very costly. Now, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news because I'm standing here saying litigation, watch it, watch out, but it's the truth, and it is a fact. And it's something that we see every day at Global Women Inventors and Innovators Network, because a lot of women think out of the box, invent wonderful things, but at the same time, with AI, they can and have gotten into trouble. So why should intellectual property and AI matter to enterprises? Mainly because we just don't want to be called out. We just don't need that hassle. We don't need it at all. The costs of legal teams, rebranding costs, just because you're caught using unauthorized intellectual property rights of others. We have to ensure that we keep our reputation for small businesses. Many need research and development to grow. And imagine if it's out there that branding, that hard work has gotten a reputation for taking and infringing on others. So it's very important that we take certain steps to ensure that we're well protected and we're aware and well enlightened. So there are so many things that SMEs have to look out for, and I think that I'm just going to read out some of them, not all, just to give you an idea. So some of the things that you need to think about are the problems that could come up in terms of when you use someone's intellectual property, in terms of your reputation, of the brand, in terms of how you use copyright, trademarks, patents, design registrations, and so on that are online. This could cause negative publicity. It could affect the trust factor. There are lots of people who are out there and people just don't trust them simply because they believe that they're producing fake things. We have designers today that just go online and just say, design this, that, and the other, make sure it has a beautiful color, and make sure, and then that's it. Only to find so many people have paid so much for that particular design that is AI, and nobody can tell who actually owns it. Now, I don't believe that we have the protection of the laws in terms of regulations yet, but we still need to be very cautious about how we use these things. So the impact of SMAs is that when you use AI tools whose training data was acquired illegally, they could face secondary infringement claims if the AI's output is deemed to be infringing on existing copyrights. I'm going through this very quickly because I know that we have someone that's going to be able to help us out in terms of the protections aspects. But I do believe that it's important that we look at some of the findings that we found in the UK. Now, we found that the government stance of the UK government has been exploring an opt-out model for copyright where content would be available for AI training unless creators explicitly reserve their rights, and I think that has been mentioned. I did have here, I'm just quickly trying to find the list of things that SMEs need to think about, especially because there was a survey by Bionic in early 2025 of 500 UK small business owners. They found out that 25% cited inaccuracy as a top concern for AI integration. They also found and identified knowledge gaps in their workforce regarding AI use. They cited lack of regulation as a concern. And so when 500 organizations, small businesses are saying this, this is a fact and we need to take this seriously. Right. Privacy and security were also mentioned as key considerations. Now, I am not taking anything away from AI. Please don't get me wrong. I'm simply saying there is a lot for us to be careful and be cautious about.
Thank you so much for that. We're just running up against the clock, and we have Lisa really grateful for you highlighting the risks, opportunities, and the challenges ahead in entrepreneurship. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
So, Bola highlighted how mishandling AI and IP risks could certainly open up the door to litigation. Let's hear from the lawyer herself, Lisa.
I'll just take this one. Thank you very much for having me, and good morning, everyone. So I want to take the next few minutes to talk about the legal perspective of things. So we heard a lot about that artists in particular have a lot of pain and are very upset with big AI companies just using their works for training AI models, which is totally understandable. And there's a lot of things going on in politics right now. We heard about the US just voting against the bill that would have banned AI regulation for the next 10 years. Then there's there's corporations in the EU which are going up to the EU Commission to push for another 2-year stay of the AI Act. So there's a lot of things going on. I want to take a step back and just focus on the legal side of things. I want to talk about 3 main aspects. I want to talk about input to AI. I want to talk about what's protected when it comes to output of AI. And I want to talk about the application of the AI Act. These are the 3 main things. And just because of the matter of time, I'm just going to focus on copyright here. I'm hoping this works. Yes, great. So what you probably all already know is that AI feeds on data and copyrighted material. So in order for generative AI to be able to produce all these great images, the music we just heard, and also the videos we just saw, AI needs data, and it needs copyrighted data most particularly. To do AI training, we need tons of these data. And this begs the question of whether AI corporation can just go ahead and take whatever's out there and use it for the AI training, or whether they need permission. And in the EU, we already heard about there's a law in EU copyright that actually permits copying of copyrighted data without permission for text and data mining, which is a technology that many argue to be the foundation of AI training as well. I would argue so as well. And this means that actually anybody can go out there and take what's copyright protected, copy it, and use it for text and data mining. This law also has an opt-out option, which we already also heard about. So artists, creatives have to get active to actually protect their works from being used for text and data mining. There's another discussion going on in the US where they apply the fair use doctrine, which is a concept where they are discussing copyright implications on a case-by-case basis. So it's not just a single provision that would apply to all situations, but there are certain factors that have to be valued in. For example, there's one case where it was ruled that taking books, copying, digitizing them for the purpose of AI training would probably qualify as fair use. But as you can already see, different countries mean there's different rules on using data for AI training. And due to international treaties, such as the Berne Convention, it is also important to know that always the local copyright applies also to foreign works. What does it mean? So when I'm based in Germany and I'm taking a Brazilian blog article, for example, and I download it, I copy it, I edit it, and I use it for AI training, I only have to obey German copyright laws. And the same goes for Brazil. But the problem is I don't know what the copyright is in Brazil, and the Brazilian author of that blog post probably doesn't know what's going on in the EU or Germany. And since in the EU, as I pointed out before, we have this opt-out option, the person in Brazil would have to know about this option to enact it. And this is what's very challenging about the input side of AI. Now let's take another look at the output. We already saw a lot of great creative output before, and also for the protection of this output. So whenever you're creating this output, protection varies by country, of course, because we've seen there's different copyright jurisdictions all over the world, and also by the technology used, because AI can be used in an assistive manner. So it can be used as a tool. You can guide it towards the creative process and towards the creative product that you have in mind. But of course, you can also just press a button. So for example, the image that you see here was created with, I think, Gemini, where I just prompted creative outburst as a prompt. And this was like the only instruction I gave to the AI model, and everything else was just decided by AI. So this is probably not protected by copyright because there is not sufficient human factor in the AI output. And this would basically mean that anybody can go ahead and take that and copy it. Same for other images that would be out there, or music or videos. Even though it's easy to create them, it's not easy to protect them. There is one trick. If you want to protect work you created using AI, you could just edit it, you could modify it, you could add your own touch to it, and thereby possibly create at least a bit of a human factor in the output, which might help you protecting it from being used by others. And the third aspect that I want to touch upon, just briefly, is the AI Act, which you already heard about as well. It's a new EU law, which has been around since last year, August. And it's mostly product safety regulation. So it's not essentially about copyright or IP, but it's about product safety. So it regulates that certain unethical practices would be prohibited in the EU, for example. Other practices would be classified as high risk because they pose a threat to human beings, they would cause probably damages, so the EU wants to regulate them. It applies to providers and deployers of AI systems, so whenever you are creating products or AI systems, putting it out in the market or using them themselves, or whether you are using AI systems. So deployers means user in this context, which I find really important, because when you are using ChatGPT in a company, the AI Act might already apply to that use case, which many people are not aware about. It applies to all AI systems, models, and AI outputs, and I think it's what is very fascinating and very important to know is that it all even applies if you are not based in the EU. So when you're placing a product in the EU market or putting it into use within the EU, even if you're based outside of the EU, the AI Act might apply to you. Again, as with the copyright provision we heard about before, it's very important to know that even if you're not based within the EU. But there's also good news. We heard about high risk and prohibited practices, but these are only about 20 or 30% of AI use cases. About 70 or 80% of AI use cases, such as using AI translation tools such as DeepL or ChatGPT or DALL-E, would not qualify as a risky AI application under the AI Act and would therefore not bring any bold obligations for companies, which I think is good news. There's one exception. Even if you're just using ChatGPT in your company, the AI Act requires companies to train their employees in AI literacy. So I think it is really a learning opportunity that we get there, because it gives us the chance to also teach our employees about what not to put in an AI system, which we just heard about. It's very important that you do not forfeit your trade secrets, for example. So this is really a chance to take a step back and also learn about AI. So some key takeaways. What you learned right now is that AI is certainly not unregulated. Some argue it might be overregulated within the EU, but there definitely is legislation that is worth looking into. There are some copyright principles that apply to AI as well, and it might really help artists and everyone else creating copyrightable content if you explicitly reserve your rights. So how does it work? I created a short to-do list. I was told that you might be able to get the slides afterwards, so you can look it up again if you want to. So what you already did is you learned about the opt-out options if you want to protect your assets within the EU. So this is something that you can already check off the list. If you want to declare the opt-out, I prepared a website where you can basically look up options that are out there to do so. You also need to learn about your local AI-relevant copyright laws, and you also heard that it's important to edit AI-generated output if you want to obtain some degree of copyright. It's very important to learn about your local AI legislation situation, and of course, whether the AI Act applies in your case. You already heard that it might if you are importing AI into the EU. And it's very important if you are creating products which are leveraging AI, or if you're creating AI systems, for example, to check if your products are actually used in the EU and consider implementing the processes of the AI Act in your company. So these are the key takeaways, and I really hope that I can provide you some insight into the AI and IP situation out there.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Ladies, so if you would, thank you so much. So if you would like to protect yourself, the key summary here is how do you protect what you produce? You go to that QR code, and plus, those of you in Europe, you are best protected thanks to the EU AI Act. For the rest of us out there, not so much. You can opt out, but it doesn't mean your content is going to remain protected. So tough luck for us. And remember, we're in the early days of AI. There is so much going on. We heard wonderful presentations for our 4 speakers, Leyla, Pilar, Bola, and Lisa. Hats off to my first lineup of presenters. Thank you so much. I'm Chloe Cho. Have a fantastic rest of the day.